Chapter 3. Day 1, Fever and Madness. She was burning up. Hours passed in a haze. At some point, she wrapped herself in the emergency blanket she'd found in the cabinet. Her body shook with fever and chills, her muscles tense and aching, her mind slipping in and out of reality. The walls seemed to shimmer with green light. Unearthly whispers echoed from nowhere. Her skin felt like it was crawling with static. She reached for the gun once or twice, uncertain whether the whispering was inside the shelter with her or outside wanting in. As she drifted in and out of consciousness, her stomach would jerk her awake, stabbing with cramps that doubled her over. She vomited until there was nothing left, curling into herself as pain rushed through her and tremors racked her body. The hallucinations came with the fever. Her senses swam, sometimes unable to tell dreams from reality. She saw herself kneeling before someone's body, her hands covered in thick red blood. She saw her own hands lifting the person's insides toward her mouth. She could almost taste it, the copper tang of blood. Then she'd jerk her eyes open, the reality of it too much. She forced herself back into the present, blinking hard, staring at the small bathroom, touching the cold floor. She would look out into the shelter, grounding herself, then look at her hands, no blood, no guts. The thought alone made her vomit again, cramps tearing through her. She forced herself to drink as much water as she could while lucid, hoping it was enough to stay hydrated. The idea of eating someone made her stomach turn more than the sickness itself. Sometimes she vomited before passing out again, other times she managed to hold down a little water. Day 2, Collapse and Silence. She woke enough to want off the floor. The bed stood only a few feet away. She thought she could make it. Her body hurt so badly, but she tried anyway. Standing was a mistake. Sky made it upright before everything spun. She crashed against the bathtub, barely catching her fall. Her arms felt foreign, twitchy and limp, and her vision tunneled. She forced herself to sip more water, gnawing on the corner of a protein bar. It was all she could manage. Still drifting in and out of consciousness, each waking period lasted a little longer. She tried to think, to understand what was happening. Why the dreams were so vivid. Why she kept seeing herself shoving someone's body parts into her mouth. Her stomach rolled at the thought. She managed to hold down a bit more water and a small piece of the protein bar lying half-eaten beside her. She was still vomiting, but not as often. Her body still screamed with pain, her stomach still cramping. She curled into herself. She spent most of the day on the floor, breathing shallowly, listening for anything familiar to ground her. She hoped she would survive whatever this was. She'd had the flu before, but this was different. The fever dreams felt real. She kept checking her hands, reassuring herself. No blood, no flesh, no body. Just her, in this small shelter. Touching the cold tile helped keep her anchored. Day 3, The Edge. The fever broke. She woke drenched in sweat, her shirt clinging to her back. Her jaw ached, her limbs were sore, but the hallucinations were gone. Her body no longer racked with pain. She dragged herself upright and looked in the mirror. Her eyes were bloodshot, dark circles beneath them. Her cheeks were pale, her lips cracked and blistered from the fever. Her arms and legs trembled. Her skin looked sallow. Was that a faint green tint, or just bruising from her fall? She stared for long minutes, unsure. She tested her strength by taking a few steps. She was shaking, but she could move. Reaching the small kitchen, she grabbed a water bottle and another protein bar. She wasn't sure she could stomach much else, but she needed strength. She faded into sleep again once she lay down on the bed. Day 4, Decision. She woke with a clearer mind. Her body still trembled, but she felt capable just enough. She needed to move on, hopefully toward a town. This trail connected to many others, and each nearby town maintained its section. The shelter had been her cocoon, but staying meant stagnation. She packed her gear carefully, filled her water bladder, grabbed MREs, and tightened her boots. Her body still ached. She could stay longer to regain strength, but something nagged at her. She needed to move forward. With a deep breath, she unlocked the door, raised the metal bar, and stepped outside. It was quiet. Almost too quiet. Something had changed during the days she was sick. The world felt off balance. Nature's sounds were muted. Animals were far more silent, and what she did hear seemed distant, as if they had moved deeper into the forest, away from human habitation. Picking up the trail. Sky headed south, her solar-powered radio tied to the top of her pack to charge. 8 miles down, she found a map mounted under plexiglass where several trails intersected. Folded extras sat in a box. She took one just in case. She turned and froze. Far down the western trail, a lone figure approached. A man. The first person she'd seen since the green rain. Sky watched, tense. Something was wrong. She eased the gun from her pocket. He hadn't noticed her yet. His gait was staggered and heavy. As he stumbled along the trail, she wanted to call out, to ask if he was okay, but her instinct screamed at her to run. He wore a suit. Not hiking gear. That alone was strange this far out. But the way he moved, as if his body didn't remember how, made her back away. Not taking chances, Sky turned south and continued toward town at the fastest pace her body allowed. It wasn't as fast as she wanted, but it was faster than him. She'd notify the rangers once she reached civilization. The map showed another shelter before town, 8 miles from here. That became her goal. She didn't want to sleep in a tent with that man out there. Her body still worn from the illness, she ached. Her head pounded. She needed rest. Reaching the shelter took hours. She couldn't maintain the steady pace she'd had on the first day. The sun was fading behind the trees when it finally came into view. It looked unoccupied. She hoped so. She staggered to the door and tested the handle. It turned easily. She stepped inside, checking every corner. She locked up, slid the metal bar into place, and checked the bathroom and cabinets. Same setup except. She dropped her pack and collapsed onto the bed. She was out before she could think. When she awoke, it was dark. Gathering her things, she decided a hot bath would help her sore body. She could wash her clothes too. After soaking in the hot water and letting it ease her muscles, she climbed out. She dug into her pack, found her small medical kit, and pulled out a pair of rubber gloves. Grabbing the clothes she'd worn during the rain, she threw them into the tub, letting the water run until it turned clear. The last of the green-tinted water swirled down the drain. She added the clothes from today. She would have worn them longer, but since she had the chance, she washed them. This time she plugged the drain, let the tub fill, and poured shampoo into the water, watching it bubble. Once the clothes were submerged, she stirred them and stepped out. She lit a small fire, knowing the darkness would hide the smoke and the heat would help dry her clothes. She turned on the radio and cycled through stations. Every one played the same emergency broadcast. Please shelter in place. Do not go outside your home. Do not approach any of the sick. If bitten, confine yourself away from others. If a family member has been bitten, confine them away from you. The automated message repeated endlessly. She turned the radio off to save the charge. She wondered what had happened. She stirred the clothes again, then grabbed her paracord and strung a small clothesline near the stove. After several more rinses, she wrung the clothes out as dry as she could. She was glad she didn't wear jeans. Cargo pants dried faster. Once everything was hung, she ate an MREs from the cabinet. It was self-heating, and even though she wasn't hungry, she knew her body needed real food. She lay back on the bed fully dressed and fell asleep quickly. Sometime later, a scratching sound woke her. Sky reached instinctively for her gun. She didn't move, listening. It could be an animal. Eventually, the sound faded. She drifted back to sleep, wary. She slept longer than planned. Her body needed the rest after the sickness and miles of walking. It was 10 a.m. when she opened her eyes. She boiled water to purify it and refill her bladders, unsure what the green rain might have changed. She ate another Marie from the cabinet, not wanting to deplete her own stock. She removed her clothes from the line, folded them, and stashed them in her bag. She rewound the paracord and put it away. The fireplace was cold, meaning the fire had gone out long before dawn. She hoped no one had seen the smoke.